If everything is manual in your business and you are the bottleneck, then it means that you belong in either one of two different camps. One, you don't have any business systems, i.e. any project management systems or CRMs, or you don't have the right systems in place to make your life easier, or you do have systems, but they're not organized, they don't help you see the big picture of what's happening, and everything is still scattered all around the place and there's no real organization where you're working. In both situations, you likely don't have what I like to call connective tissue, which are the automations and AI agents that integrate tools and perform tasks for you. So what I'm going to do in this video is show you exactly how to automate your entire business by showing you the way to come up with ideas for agents and automations that you can use in your business. So let's get into it. So if you want to know more of me, here's some links. Website, icarusgrowth.com, my YouTube, type my name in, my Twitter, type my name in, you'll find me, you'll find a bunch of other stuff as well. So what we're going to cover is how systems are built in the first place, the departments and systems in your business to help you narrow down the biggest bottlenecks, the activity types that occur in your business, and how to come up with automations once you have systems in place. So this is how systems are built in general, and I'm going to scroll down to scroll up. So we have backend data management at the bottom, which is, your Airtable bases, your Pinecone, your CRMs, that kind of stuff. Front-end interface and user interface, which is basically the Airtable interface, or softer if you use client portals. Chatbots for your GPTs and your NAN and AI agents, or V0/lovable apps. This is the tactile sensation. It's a way to tangibly manipulate the data that is inside of your database. And because data is really useless if it can't be accessed very easily by everybody who is actually using it. Then you have AI automations and AI agents, which is the connective tissue. This is your responsiveness. This is your if this, do that. When this happens, make this. When this moves over here, this cascade of activities needs to occur. This is how your systems live and breathe. This is how you can essentially do job replacement, where a whole business function can be taken over by an AI that can fill out all the things that need to be done. And said person is no longer making 5 emails a day, but they're checking 55 emails a day because they have 11x capacity. And then on top of all of this, you have dashboards, which is your 30,000 foot view. It's your bird's eye interface, which is the simplification of everything below, all of the automations, the agents, the data inside of your data warehouse, all the activities going on inside of your front end interface, broken down into numbers and displayed in pie charts and graphs and things like that. You cannot run a business if you do not know your numbers. So systems start from the ground up. If you do not have a database, you won't make any use out of any of the things that are sat on top. So we always start at the bottom. So some ideas, if you do not have them, are, communication platforms, i.e. Slack, which as an agency owner, you probably are using, and email as well. Project management systems, Airtable, ClickUp, so on and so forth. We will always pick Airtable because Airtable is the only one that's a true database, which has its own interface activity and ability to use. And then CRMs, which are your HubSpots and your Go High Levels and so on and so forth. I prefer Close. Close is the easiest one to get started with, and it's the best one for sales, bar none. Their databases where a record of conversations or actions are held, and it's the underpinning of everything that gets built. And then you have departments and systems. So the departments and systems are a way to divide up what a business actually is. So a business is made up of departments which start off with, marketing, sales, ops, HR, finance and accounting, law, legal, compliance. These are all different types of departments. The most important ones are going to be really these 5, because, even for finance, 1, you're going to need to pay yourself. 2, you're going to need to pay other people. And for HR, you're probably hiring, because even though AI agents can replace a lot of menial work, you're still going to need people and AI agents to get the most leverage out of any system that you ever build. So those are the departments. Each department contains specific systems. So marketing contains, for example, we have YouTube, we have LinkedIn and Twitter, we have ads, we have cold email, we have email nurture, so on and so forth. So this is kind of an understanding of how it looks. You have the department up here, marketing. Content, ads, and email are the systems that sit within the department of marketing. Operations, you have onboarding, you have fulfillment, you have account management, you have iterative processes where you're looking at the things that are being built and you're building better things. So basically just fulfillment improvement. And then you have things like HR, which include hiring, team onboarding, and then managing holiday and when people are on leave and things like that. That's number 2. Keep that in mind, because the most important thing that we're going to tackle in a second is which of these is the biggest bugbear. Because for the most part, if you have a ton of people who are coming in because you're doing incredibly at sales or things are going really, really well, but everything feels unorganized and there's a lot of bottlenecks happening where you're having to do a bunch of different things the moment that someone signs, it's probably because onboarding hasn't been looked at. And this is the system that this is the 80-20 system that can be solved with a couple of agents or automations once you have a system built on top of that. If you know the ads are ripping for you, but the ads are starting to reduce in effectiveness, your cost per call is increasing or you don't have enough nurture information, then maybe the 80-20 that you want to focus on is content, or the 80-20 you want to focus on is email. Either way, this gives you a nice way to pinpoint the exact problem and where that thing lies. So whatever your problem is, the problem lies inside of a department. That department is sat on a system that you own, which includes Slack, CRM, project management, and so on and so forth. And the system has an activity type involved with it. So the activity types are the activities within every system which sit in one of 4 different groups. So assembly lines, funnels, event handlers, and asynchronous activity. So an assembly line basically means what goes in always comes out. It's one single deliverable. It's the same sequence of activities. There's low variety in extreme depth, and it's measured by quantity and quality. The best landing page agency makes amazing landing pages en masse. The best cold email agency makes the best cold email campaigns and the best personalization en masse. If you can only create 3 really, really good landing pages a week, you are an okay agency or a bad agency. If you can make that same quality, but you can make 3,000 a week, then you have very, very high leverage and a very, very strong assembly line. Then there's funnels, which is what goes in doesn't always come out. Same sequence of activities, i.e. we start with an opt-in and we end with a close, but not everybody that opts in will close. There are going to be different stages where there's drop-off. So quality, which is qualification, and quantity are the cornerstones of a good funnel. Event handlers. Event handlers include speed to response. So this is inbox management. This is setters. This is customer support. Quality and speed are both equally important, and they're both paramount, where it's the idea that you need to take one thing and resolve it. It's the same sequence of activities every single time. So it's a new opt-in comes in, they get hit with a number of SMS which are the same, or they get hit with a call script that is the same, whatever it may be. And then there's asynchronous activity, which is high variety and low depth. So there's differing sequences of activities. There's loads of blockers usually because there's a lot of dependencies, and activities are usually spread across multiple different departments, teams, or people. So the departments that we spoke about, there may be certain situations where there are certain elements where things can be basically mixed up. So for example, one of my clients is a fractional CFO company, and what their CFOs that sit on fulfillment will do audits on audit calls for the sales team to basically generate reports and things that can be used to then sell that person once they get in and negotiate higher setup fees and things like that. Asynchronous activity is fractional by definition, in the sense that if you do fractional ops, or the thing that you build is always different every single time. So me, for example, if I'm building a bunch of different automations for a bunch of different people that I have on retainer, my work is async, because there may be certain builds that need to be done before other builds can be made, i.e. certain Airtable build outs and things like that, which I can't make until certain automations that I can't make until I've made the Airtable, certain CRM automations that I can't make until the CRM infrastructure is in place. That's what async is. What needs to be emphasized in each group, as I highlighted before, is speed of delivery for assembly lines, quantity delivered, and quality of delivery / iterative speed on these assembly lines as well. So the more you can make, the quicker you can make it, and the better quality you can make it, or the better you can improve on things, i.e. this cold email campaign didn't work. We immediately switched it out for this angle, which didn't work, so we switched it out for this angle. The quicker you can do that, the better. That's what an assembly line is. For funnels, output ratios between steps, i.e. the cost per call and the booking rate, those will be the things that determine the quality of a funnel. If you have a really high booking rate, or qualified booking rate, amazing. If you have a really low cost per call, amazing. If you have a really low cost per acquisition, amazing. These are the output ratios, and that's what makes a funnel something that can be improved over time just by looking at those bottlenecks there. Event handlers is speed of response, quality of response, and the success rate on response, and which is specifically particular to SaaS companies as well that have bugs which can be long lasting, which I have a lot of experience with. And then asynchronous activity, which is speed of completion, the percentage of tasks that are done by their due date, and the completion of each sprint as they are done. AI agents and automation can improve each and every single activity in every single system that you own, but the key is finding out how. And that is where this fantastic diagram that I put up a few days ago basically comes into play, because I keep on getting asked the question. I like agents and I think agents are really useful, but I don't know how to actually use them. So this is the definitive answer to that question. Number one, you have to look at your tech stack. Number two, you have to look at the Zapier actions or the no-code actions inside of the different apps. And at worst, you have to look at the API documentation to find out what's actually possible. And then you follow this diagram to come up with the ideas. So basically, what that will end up looking like is, if I go into this little search, I just typed in Zapier Slack integration. And then the first thing I did was I clicked on Slack integrations, and I looked at this, and it will say do more with Slack integrations. It will basically say I want to search for a pairing app. Let's say Google Sheets. I'll just click on Google Sheets. If I do that, it can basically say choose a trigger, choose an action, and I can swap the action. So when a new public message is posted anywhere, automatically create a spreadsheet, column, row, multiples, all of this stuff. So these are the actions. These are the triggers. For every single app that you'll run into, just go on Zapier and find out what's possible, because these same triggers and actions inside of Zapier are going to be the triggers and actions that are available inside of NAN. And in fact, for Zapier, the difference between the two is that NAN actually has more actions than Zapier does, and Zapier has more integrations. So there's a couple of things there which I won't get into in this video, because it's more about just finding out ways that you can come up with ideas for the different things that your agents are going to do. But once you can understand that the only thing that you need to understand is the triggers and the actions, you can make whatever it is that you want, and I'll explain how. So I'll just use this one because I think this is a bigger explanation or a bigger way of describing exactly what I'm looking at. So number one, do you have a problem? Like, do you actually have a problem? Yes. Do you know what needs to be true to solve said problem? I.e., let's say my problem is I'm running into an issue where I don't understand what's going on with the team. I don't understand how many emails my designers can actually make. And because I feel like a lot of my clients are telling me that things are moving a little bit too slow, and the things are moving slowly in this stage. So what needs to be true to solve said problem? I need to basically know how many emails are being designed every single week. Okay, great. Do your apps have triggers and actions you can use to meet these conditions? So if I go back into that Slack bit, and my app is Airtable because that's my project management system, and my other app is Figma or something along those lines. Well, Figma doesn't really have, and this is just me knowing this, Figma doesn't really have any automations involved in it. So I would go down this route. If it was something else and it was like Airtable and Gmail, I probably have the triggers. I'm probably fine there, and I can get all the data that I need. Great. So I can probably just make a simple automation out of that. Can I use manual triggers, i.e. a form, a Slack push, an email, or a movement of something inside of an Airtable as my trigger for the actions that I want to take in the apps that I am building? Yes, great. No, can you create a system or database with these triggers in it? I.e., maybe I don't have a system. Maybe I can make an Airtable system out of it. If the answer there is yes, then I can create them if it's worth the time. And once I know that I can get all the data that I need, or I can get the data by generating text or code, then I can solve my solution with either simple automation or with AI workflows and agents. So that example of I don't know exactly what I can do as far as being able to generate I guess, a report or feedback on how well things are going on the design side. Then the first thing that I will need to do is understand what needs to be true to solve the problem. And once I know what needs to be true to solve the problem, all I need to do is just look at the documentation. And me being a techie person, I will actually go straight to the API documentation, because what Zapier shows is actually way less than what's actually available. And once you can understand API documentation, you can basically make whatever you want. And for the most part, you don't even need to understand it, because you can just print it out or save it as a PDF and then stick it in Claude, and Claude will do all of that for you. So, do your apps have triggers and actions that you can use to meet these conditions? Yes. So the trigger that I would use to understand how many bits and bobs are being designed every single week is inside of my Kanban, inside of Airtable. Whenever something moves, I then send that information to Make, and then Make either stores it in an Airtable, or Airtable just as a record, which says, this item was moved from this time to this time at this date, and this is the person that it belonged to. Can I get all of the data that I need? Well, yes, because the data literally lives inside of my systems. So I can actually make that with a very simple automation inside of Airtable. And all of the automations that can be made here can also be made inside of AI workflows and AI agents as well. So for the most part, you can do everything here you can do everything under this branch over here. And this is only where AI is needed, basically. So if you look at this as an idea for coming up with the agents that you need, this is how you're going to get there 100 times out of 100. So in short, 1, you want to break your business up into its departments and its systems. 2, you want to pick a system that's the most effort or the most work to deal with. 3, find out the activities in the system and which of the 4 activity groups they belong in. 4, look at your tech stack. And then 5, start to create solutions using the diagram that I posted above. So the hard part is always going to be knowing how to build the solutions themselves. And I make those solutions in real time on my YouTube. So I'm going to link you the build out playlist that I have, which is me sitting in and building stuff from scratch, so you can see how things are built live. So go and click the link that you'll find somewhere, and it'll take you straight to that playlist.